There we go. There he is.
Carlo, I love how you've defined yourself as the race coverer. You know.
Yeah, it's a technical term.
You should get a name tag for that.
I should. We're working on roles and responsibilities, and so I have to petition Will for that one, so I could be the race coverer person. So,
we'll make a new media credential rather than that one that you've been reusing for the last few years.
Hey, that has served me well. I'll have you know. So thank you. First off, hey, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate you taking the time to be on.
No problem. I love a good quarantine corner. I've been following what you guys have been doing. Lots of fun. So.
Oh, good. I'm glad. It's been really fun. This is kind of a neat little thing that we that Will came up with, and it's been going along pretty good so far.
And it looks like you've got a comfortable seat to report from, or you're perched on
I
your
do.
couch.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I was going around to different parts of my house trying to set the phone up and seeing which would work best and whatever. And I was just like, this is way too much work. Like, I mean, Jack Goris did it from a park bench or something. So I'm like, I'm just gonna lay on the couch and do it. Like, whatever, right? Might as well be comfortable.
Is Jack Goris homeless?
Not yet. I don't think he pays rent at the place he lives at. He lives like in a cabin somewhere in the backwoods of Florida, which I just learned is where you're from. Maybe not the backwoods.
I'm not so much from the backwoods of Florida, but I am from Florida. So
yes,
and you learned that from Mappy Davis's trick question about Tiger King and the childhood trauma that I have since suffered from having watched Tiger King and having my entire childhood regret.
I actually just watched that about an hour ago. I didn't even know that had been posted. So anyway, we can get to that maybe if there's time. But that's pretty good. I didn't know that was even happening. I do want to ask. Let's start. So you're in New York, right?
Tough Mudder's in New York. I actually live in New Jersey. It's about 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Of New York City. So.
Okay. So you're home with the wife and the small child, right?
Wife and the small child, living the suburb life. So.
Okay. So what's that? How has that been? Like, I mean, you're all working from home? Like, what does Kyle's quarantine life look like?
Well, I mean, my 3-year-old daughter, Madeline, has quite the busy schedule. Phone calls start at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Of course, yes.
Consumes all the internet bandwidth with the amount of Zoom meetings she's got. So trying to get in edgewise around her schedule is really rough. But
I understand, yeah.
It's been
especially with play dates off the schedule. It's tough. You got to do it all online now, you know.
Yeah, I'll tell you, my wife is a godsend. So she's a consultant. She already has a pretty flexible schedule, but she's been taking the lion's share of the day to day. I do breakfast and bedtime. She takes the middle of the day, and her cousin's staying with us as well. So we've good 4-to-1 adult to toddler ratio, which is
great.
I realize that I am lucky in that situation, but thank God, because it's been pretty smooth.
Yeah, it's funny when this whole thing started. My children are basically young adults now, so they're kind of self-sufficient. But I've said numerous times, like, I feel so greatly for folks who are stuck at home with very small children, because I don't know if I could do that. Like, I think I would go absolutely stir crazy, because they can, they don't care that you're all stuck. They just want what they want sometimes. It's just the way it goes.
Yeah, we would definitely fit into the category of parents who were, had a particular philosophy about screen time, about 4 weeks ago,
nice.
And have completely given up on that philosophy.
Yeah. See, more people need to hear that, because people feel so guilty when that happens. It's like, no, it's self-preservation.
You got to do it. You got to do it.
You know what I mean?
So this is adapt and overcome. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, I wrote down questions to ask you. Imagine that. Like, a prepared for this.
So formal obstacle course reporter guy. Yeah.
That's exactly reporterer. I wanted to ask you, so obviously CEO of Tough Mudder, right? Which is the same role you had under the previous regime, right?
I just had a little, let's call it a gap quarter. Yeah. I took 3 months off.
Yeah, which is great, right? And now you've got a few wins.
Yeah. And then we're
back. So can you tell me, is there anything, just now that you're under the Spartan umbrella now, right? We all know that. So is there anything glaringly different about the way things are run, like from Spartan versus like the old board or anything like that?
Wow, that's a question. I mean, we never had 5:30 a.m. phone calls, in the old Tough Mudder.
Every day.
But, Joe and I do a 5:30 a.m. phone call every morning. So,
wow.
It's
is that the warrior call?
Start the day with a little Descena.
There you go.
I don't even need coffee anymore. I just drink my daily dose of Joe in the morning.
And that's every day.
Every day.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen his warrior calls and stuff, so I'm like, okay.
That's it. Yeah, it's actually a great call. If anybody wants to join, he posts the link live. But it's all the Spartan folks, TM folks from around the world, a bunch of other people who are in our networks talking about the current situation. Mix of event updates, medical and science, financial, and little dose of inspiration at the end. He does a good job with those. But no, broadly speaking, TM is the same TM. We were able to bring a good portion of the team with us, about 20 people in the US and about 20 in the UK. All people who were with us prior, and a couple of new hires who joined in January, February on the UK side. So largely the same team, delivering same great events, same leadership in place.
And you've been able to, now this sounds kind of silly, but of course this whole thing, we all had like a week to celebrate like the Tough Mudder rebirth before this whole thing kind of seemed to break down. I was just talking with Will Hicks the other day about like, man, remember back in January when like our biggest concern was like, boy, is Tough Mudder going to be around this year? And then you guys for like a week and we were like, yes. And then it was like, no. So have you been able to retain your staff, the folks that got rehired?
Yeah, so we've got everybody on board.
Oh, good.
The coronavirus situation has hit us the same way it's hit everybody.
Right.
Events have been pushed back. We had to move 4 UK events back. We've had to obviously move Virginia back here in the US. And we're going to keep watching it. We may have to make additional changes as we go. I have no acronyms after my name that give me any sort of qualifications to guess when we'll be back up and running again. But, we've done the same pivot that a lot of other brands have, and we've been in terms of focusing on content, and we've got daily workouts. And you've seen a lot of coach and
a lot of coach,
a lot of people from the community who've come up. Kristen Reed did a great workout with her kids on our Tough on our Instagram earlier this week, which was great. Daily emails, things to do at home, and look, at the end of the day, it's not about selling tickets and registrations right now. It's about making sure that our community and our customers are supported and entertained and have something to take their mind off of this crazy world we live in right now. And when we can host events again, we'll be ready. Yeah,
there you go. You touched on something I wanted to, something I was always curious about. So you as CEO, right? Yep. You're kind of like the shot caller, the decision maker. Like what type of things come across your desk, or what kind of things would have to come across your desk where you'd have to go like, that has to go up like to Joe. You know what I mean?
Well, we coordinate pretty closely on a lot of things. So they leave us independent to make all the decisions we need to make on TM. But part of the benefit of being together is we get to coordinate and align on things that we never were able to before. So our teams are working pretty heavily right now on the 2021 calendar. And for anybody who's an OCR aficionado knows that for years we were intentionally and unintentionally on top of each other in a lot of markets. Last year, we were 10 minutes down the road from each other on the same weekend. So the benefit of all being under one house now is we get to coordinate on things like that to make sure that, for people who live in Southern California or Northern California where you are, that, you want to go to Spartans and Tough Mudders, they're going to be spaced apart enough, where possible, not always feasible to get that 100% right, but spaced enough apart that we can deliver a good calendar for both brands, and great promotions and other things too that we're able to do. We're able to people who were unfortunate to have their TM event canceled this year as part of the bankruptcy now have the option to do another TM event or a Spartan event, and we can offer that in both directions. So we were for some of the coronavirus changes we've had to make here, we're able to offer people cross options across both brands. So if the new TM date doesn't work for you, maybe the Spartan date does, and that's a great option that we can deliver for customers.
Yeah, definitely. I just see Will Hicks is asking if you're gonna have WTM 2021 in San Diego. Cool.
We'll
Always thinking
we'll
of
see.
himself. Okay.
Yeah.
You never know, right? Let's have the Dallas one first in 2020. How about that? Then we'll see
Yeah,
what
if we can
happens.
get the Dallas one done, no pandemics, no,
Yeah.
8-foot spiders, no fire ants, no, water moccasins, or any of the other horrible things
What?
that people are expecting in Dallas, I think we'll be good.
That's right. You were talking about the dates and how they kind of coincide. One of the things that got people a little, I mean, you're never going to not ruffle the community at some point, but with some of the reshuffling, we ended up with the toughest mutter Chicago on the same weekend as the toughest mutter over in the UK. That's just an unfortunate thing, right? That's the way it worked out.
Yeah, I mean, certainly not ideal for us. It puts me in a
Right.
situation too where I have to pick which one am I going to go to. But the reality was the venue dates in the UK to be able to ship those back is the only weekend they had available. So we had to squeeze it in when we could. It wouldn't have been our first choice, and going forward, we always want to try to get toughest to be on separate weekends because we know there's a handful of people that like to do all of them.
Yeah, exactly. And the Holy Grail is still a thing this year?
Holy Grail is still a thing. It's going to be even out. Earning the Holy Grail in 2020 is going to be a badge of honor in and of itself, right?
It is, yeah. You've got limited options.
You will have had to truly dedicate yourself to getting the Holy Grail in 2021. A few options to do your tougher, one option to do your toughest, and one option, obviously, for World's Toughest Mutter. So,
Right.
it guarantees that everybody who's going to get the Holy Grail this year will be running a Toughest Mutter on that weekend in August in one place or another.
That's going to be fun. I really hope that all ends up working out well and we get past this, because I'm really looking forward to that event. That'll be, because it seems like everyone will be there.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably try to do something fun. Maybe we'll live stream the UK event over to the US event. We can get
Nice.
screen set up between the pits in both areas. People can check in on their friends across the pond.
That's right. Oh, that'd be great. Let's see what else. Oh, so one of the things was what, last weekend or weekend before was supposed to be, of course, Tough Mudder LA and Toughest West, and that, of course, we were always kind of bummed that didn't get to happen. But that got me thinking about, that was supposed to be one of the first 10th anniversary events, right?
Sure
that you were going to have. So are there other events that have been kind of identified as where there's going to be 10th anniversary thing? Is that still something that's happening? The 10th anniversary celebration?
Totally still something that's happening. We're just actually meeting on that earlier this afternoon. We've got a bunch of things in the works. Tri-State and Chicago were the other two U.S. events that were supposed to have 10th anniversary celebrations at them, and then the Midlands one in the UK, which is where Europe's Toughest Mutter is as well.
Right.
Well, we're going to see how the calendar pans out, but our goal is definitely to still do 10th anniversary celebrations. The team
Excellent.
is trying to convince me that we should have people carry birthday cakes through the course, in their full plastic clamshells, and then open them up at the end of the finish line and serve them up, and people can eat them. So, you'll see what the devious minds come up with. But definitely 10th anniversary celebrations. We've got 10th anniversary gear that's up on sale at Tough Mudder Gear right now as well. So some limited edition shirts and hats and other things. And we'll be announcing more on 10th anniversary celebrations, some old fan favorite obstacles from the past, coming out of the vault, maybe some shocks on the rocks or other fun stuff we'll dig out for you.
Wow. Okay. Has Devil Taint been retired?
I mean, that was such a boon to your popularity, Carlo. I don't know if your popularity can handle another resurrection of Devil's Taint.
That I got told off a lot in that 24-hour span. I'll tell you that. And it didn't matter that I finally went through it. Nobody cared at that point. They were like, "Yeah, you should have gone through it." So it was just. I just want to point out though, the straps and the tarp was not part of the design. That was something like you and Giles came up with, I think, right?
Well, I mean, we're going to make sure that the experience is up to par.
It was definitely an experience. It was one of my favorite places to go watch, because no one came out.
Carte blanche to design a brand new obstacle, and you went and just regurgitated something that we did a few years ago. So we were going to keep it up a little bit.
We'll talk about that offline. That's a whole other story there. That just So okay, well, good. Okay, well, it sounds like things are good. Things are healthy. I like that. You talked about it briefly. Totally getting a little off the OCR subject, but you're at home, with the exception of Tiger King. Anything else you can recommend for those of us who are looking for things to binge?
I'm not a big TV person, so I got sucked into the Tiger King guilt by
It's hard not
association.
to.
Huh?
I said it's hard not to.
It's I'll tell you what, we get to spend a lot of time in places like Greater Wynwood, Oklahoma, when traveling for Tough Mudder events. As our participants know, the towns and cities that we're in are phenomenal, but oftentimes, the places where our hotels are tend to have an interesting, kind of local establishment to them. So there are a number of characters in Tiger King that I'm pretty sure we've met, on our Tough Mudder
That's a great
travels.
way of saying that. That's okay.
America.
There it is. Exactly. Right. That's half the fun of getting out there.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're looking.
All right, Kyle.
We're just talking about a Tiger King inspired obstacle for this year. So see what we can.
You know what's funny? I was trying to steer clear of that show, honestly, like because it was all over my news feed like the first week of the shelter in place. But it was actually Will Hicks who was like, "Dude, you got to check it out. Like every episode just gets weirder and weirder, and then once you watch it, it's like, and then the memes make sense. That's the other thing too, is I was seeing all these memes. I didn't know who Carol Baskins was. So, well, have you seen? Okay, real quick. Have you seen the really weird deep cut that someone found yesterday? Where, first off, that doc, the polygamous guy, he was like the reptile handler for Britney Spears for one of her videos. Somehow, someone found a picture of her and him. And then the following year at the VMAs, Carol Baskins was Britney Spears +1. She's sitting next to her at the show. I don't know why. That the context isn't there yet, but I learned that yesterday from some show I was watching.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad Photoshop. Like you've been duped with like a Russian fake news.
No.
Sort of.
No, I gotta hope not. Now it'll be even worse. But anyway, that's okay. Kyle, enjoy your weekend as you can. I appreciate the time, and hopefully we can see you out there in a few months.
I can't wait. I was saying that Sean Corvell and I have been hosting a little Motivation Monday show on TM's Facebook page on Monday nights. And we were talking the weekend or earlier this week about how you just get that deprivation, right? Like, I love being at events. I thrive on being out there. And how it's been almost 6 months. It was Worlds. Doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but when you consider everything that's happened in between mid-November and mid-April, wow. But I can't wait to get back out there. The team is eager to get back out there. We've got a lot of great stuff in store for this year. We just want to get out back into the mud, make it happen.
Exactly. Well, I look forward to it.
All right. Thanks,
Kyle. I appreciate it, man.
Have a good weekend.
All right. Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.